Hello everybody, it's Vicky, Messy Stitcher, back after a really long time. I'm sorry it's been so long. To cut a very long story short, work's been ridiculously stressful and to the point where it's affecting my mood outside of work. I've sort of lost my stitchy bug for a while purely because things were just really difficult, and any spare moment I seem to be thinking about work, which is not good at all. Sorry, you'll see that my cat Omen is going to make an appearance today. On the work front, to be honest, it's not really factual to say that anything much has improved or changed, but recently I've just decided to try as hard as I can to still find time for the things that I enjoy, like knitting. Sorry, I always say knitting, I mean crochet, cross stitch, reading, chilling out and watching TV programs that, you know, I don't know if any of you I know there are a few people on Flosstube with depression, and I think sometimes it's really easy. Sorry, this is going to be really hard. Sometimes, you know, I know that some of the things that I notice, which is quite textbook depression, is when you just, you know, you wait ages and ages to have, you know, free time to be able to you wait ages and ages to have free time to be able to pursue some of the things that you enjoy, and when that time comes around, typically you just don't have the energy, or, you know, and it's really strange to not have the energy to do something you enjoy, but I've just been kind of in that rut lately. Having said that, what you will notice with today's video, and it's kind of one of these disclaimers about please don't, don't feel that you have to sit and watch it, feel free to skip, or, you know, whatever you want to do, but you will notice that I've done more crochet than cross stitch. I think that's because of how I've been feeling. Sometimes, if this makes sense, cross stitch feels a little bit more like you don't get as much from it. Cross stitch is actually still my number one, despite how much crochet it's going to look like I've been doing. Cross stitch is still my number one craft. It's still the thing that I actually enjoy the most, but it is something that requires, I think, a bit more concentration than crochet, and I think those times when I've just not been feeling myself, it's quite difficult to kind of muster up that energy. So I hope that will explain why things have been a little bit quiet for me. I mean, I know, to be honest, I don't normally upload videos as often as a lot of other people anyway. I mean, it's often months in between mine anyhow, but I just thought I'd kind of share that with you just to let you know. It's also, yeah, so it's I can't remember what my train of thought was there, so let's leave that. So just, you know, general life update apart from work, and it's really difficult to talk about anything apart from work because that has completely dominated my mood recently. But actually, objectively, apart from that, things have been quite good. I usually don't, I know there's lots of people out there that don't enjoy winter, but I actually don't enjoy summer very much normally. I'm a winter person, aside from the physical stuff, like not enjoying being hot and bothered and everything else. I actually tend to find that summer, usually things go wrong in life. I don't know why. It always seems like by winter time things kind of calm down a bit. But this summer, a few things meant that it felt nicer than usual. So I actually made an effort to do something for my birthday, which I don't normally do. I've got things to look forward to, which is not normally how I feel in summer. So actually, whereas everybody's been going on their summer holidays, I've got 3 breaks coming up. Sorry, I've had 3 breaks. So I've just come back from a lovely weekend in Winchester, where my brother has moved to. And for those of you in America who might not be as familiar with where everything is, Winchester is kind of in Hampshire, which is it's not really classed as a home county, but it's in one of the counties not massively far away from London. But from where I am in Essex, it takes about a 2-hour drive. And and I know there's lots of Jane Austen fans out there, and it's the I don't think it's the birthplace of Jane Austen, but she spent her last days living there. So there's quite a lot of tributes of her. There's quotes that are printed on the pavements, and there's a lovely garden that I visited. So that's been nice. We've got a holiday for a week in Italy. Me and my boyfriend are going away to Italy near Gallipoli for a week. we did it in September because it's cheaper. We don't have children. It's a cheaper price to get the holiday, and also it's it's just nice to have something to look forward to when everybody else comes back and has kind of had their summer holidays. I always prefer winter's my time because I love Christmas so much. Winter's my time where I cram that kind of stuff in to make the most of it. And I've also got in late October, I've got a long weekend cottage break booked with my mum. My mum doesn't typically get to go away very much because of money, and I just decided it would be nice to go away with her rather than another weekend with my boyfriend, because we get to do that stuff every now and again and she doesn't. So I think that's going to be, we might do a slight bit of walking around. It's going to be in Norfolk, but to be honest, the main focus is just enjoying each other's company, doing some craft. So I've got quite a lot to look forward to, which is really nice, and that's kind of where things are life-wise. Today's Bank Holiday Monday in England, so I've just spent the last 2 hours kind of tidying and cleaning, which is something I've been putting off because of my mood. Another thing that kind of I can blame on feeling crap all the time at the moment, but it's every now and then it just gets to a point where I realise having too much dirt and clutter around actually makes me feel a lot worse. I'm not a very tidy, clean person. I'm kind of average, I'd say. I let things get to a certain point and then I really do feel that I need to do something about it, and that point gets pushed a little bit more when I'm feeling bad. But it kind of, this weekend, it was like, no, I've had a nice weekend with my brother, I need to come home and have the rest of the day free to do things like this, which I enjoy, so I've got the cleaning out the way. So I'm sorry, that's kind of almost 7 minutes of me telling you about stuff that you're not here to listen about. It probably will be a very long video today. It might go over the hour mark. So as I say, if there's anything that I'm going to talk about that you're not keen on hearing about, let me know. So with that in mind, what I thought I would do is show you some of the crochet bits I've been doing first, so that then we can talk about cross-stitch stuff outside of that. So for the next sort of probably 5-10 minutes or so, I'll be talking about crochet, and then feel free to skip over. One thing I did want to say is that I noticed, again, I'm never sure how this happens because I haven't been uploading content, but I noticed my subscribers have gone up very slightly in the last couple of months, so thank you to everybody that's new to my channel. I've been making quite an effort to subscribe to new channels recently, so I went through a phase where I only had a kind of a core list of about 20 on my subscribe list, purely because I hadn't got round to actually kind of adding things, but I've done that now, which means that I get a lot more in my feed, so I'm kind of slowly getting to know new Flosstubers, which is really good, but do bear with me because I'm quite slow on catching up. But it's been nice to see some fresh faces and to kind of see what the next wave of Flosstubers is bringing in, so thank you very much. So let's go on to crochet. So one thing I should explain, which is actually cross-stitch related as well, is that in 2 Fridays time, on the 8th of September, I'm holding a charity craft, I wouldn't call it a party because it's only going to be about 10 of us at the most, but a craft evening of wine and crafting for charity. I wanted to do something for charity this year, and I was trying to think of what I could do. Now, there is the possibility always of selling things for charity, but because I don't have an awful lot of spare time, I tend to think that things like that kind of lose momentum, and then you realise, and it's actually a bit more of a process. What I wanted to do was actually directly donate handcrafted items to charities that would need them, so things like premature baby clothes to hospitals, hats for the homeless, which I can send to homeless shelters, Christmas boxes, which you can send off with Operation Christmas Child. I'm sure you have something familiar in the US. It's a project where you can send boxes of little presents for people. Well, not so much presents, but just kind of day-to-day items, things like teddies, notebooks, puzzles, for children abroad that don't have as much as we do. Oh, what else are we doing? Fiddle mitts, which some of you may have heard of, which are kind of knitted dementia. They're knitted cuffs that you can give to people with dementia to fiddle with. It has buttons and sequins and tassels and things on, and it's a way of keeping their mind active. And because my nan had dementia, it's something that I thought would be a nice idea. So people will be coming round, and the idea is that obviously it's only one evening, so before that evening I'm hoping that people will kind of make a few items, bring them along with them. We'll have one big box that we'll put everything in. Similarly, after the evening, it will be a case of anybody that wants to donate anything, I'm going to collect it as well, give it some time so that anything that we need to finish up gets finished up, and then kind of slightly nearer to Christmas, I'll go and I will drop them off at various locations for charity. So, I'm hoping it works out. I've got a slightly worried feeling that things that I think places will want, they won't want them, and they'll feel a bit embarrassed and not know what to do with them. But I've got a fairly good idea of some charities people have made me aware of. So with that in mind, I've been practicing some craft stuff. I've been focusing on baby stuff just because I find baby patterns quite satisfying, because you can get things finished relatively quickly, but you can also you sort of can build up volume and things like that. So I've been focusing on baby crochet. So if I show you the invites I made, this was so I'll show you this. Diane is the name of my mother-in-law. It's not going to give away any addresses or anything, but as you'll see, I've made envelopes from magazine paper, and I put a little bit of card in them with the details of the party, because I thought that in the age of Facebook, things like paper invites tend to get forgotten about now, and I was quite keen. What's ironic about that is I'm now having to set up a Facebook page for the event, because I have no way of tracking who's coming and who's not, because people are rubbish at texting me. But that's just an example of a little invite that I sent over that I thought you might want to see. So one of the things I've done now, I will completely forgive you for thinking, oh my god, that looks horrendous, because this is just something I did to experiment with some wool that I had. I don't have a huge stock of wool because I've only recently got into crochet, and I just got some cheap stuff. This is really gaudy. To be honest, I'm not keen on the pattern because it's from the 1980s or something, and it's really dated looking. So here is my very gaudy, very sherbet-like baby bib that I made from a 1980s pattern. I just did it to experiment. I will give it to charity just because it's done and it's made, and may as well not waste it. But it's, obviously I don't think it's the best thing ever, but it's okay. It just needs a button attached. So that's the kind of thing that I've kind of been working on. That was kind of about 3 hours work. I've also found a really lovely video, and I'll have to try and link. I won't necessarily get to do this today, but I'll go back into the video and try to link where I got this from, because there's a tutorial by a lady that does lots of kind of baby crochet tutorials, and I have made, and she does these ballet slippers which are absolutely lovely. I haven't yet managed to make them all the same size to the point where I can make a pair, but that's okay, it's just progress. And these have been done with cotton, so I don't know how well you can see these. It's hard to see the detail in them, but they've basically got little kind of posts at the front that make them little ballet shoes. So yeah, so I've made some of those, which again, if I can make some pairs of them, they can go off to the premature baby charities. What else? So the other things I'm making for the actual charity event itself, so again, quite a date, well, not really dated actually, but this looks reasonably dated, King Cole baby patterns, and I've been trying to make this one here and this one here, and I've experimented with some really lovely wool called Rico Baby Dream DK, which is a luxury wool that I found in John Lewis. And I have got so far with one ball as to making kind of a skirt of the sort of pinafore dress, and it's really soft, it's really lovely. I thought I'd love the wool because it's variegated, and I love everything variegated, but to be honest, it does look a bit busy. But if it's for a baby, I guess it doesn't matter. In the process of starting this, I did find out that my cousin is having another baby, so I might be slightly selfish and save if not this, one of the other ones to make for her. But that, it crocheted up really quickly. This I got done in about 2 days, so I can probably knock some out so that I don't feel bad about giving some to her as well as to charity. So that's been nice. That was just me finding, that all stemmed from me finding some lovely wool in John Lewis that I really like the look of, and then wanting to do something with it. And the other one that I actually prefer how it's come out, so if I just remind you, so they've all got a similar bottom, they've all got this kind of pattern. I'm going to sneeze, sorry, hang on. sorry. They've all got a similar kind of pattern at the bottom that basically is repeated in various ways. So this wool I'm using to do this cardigan, the other one is going to be the pinafore. Just wanted to show you. I actually really love this. This is really cheap. I don't know how well it's going to come out. This is really cheap baby wool from Hobbycraft, which is, you guys, you know, in the US often talk about Michaels. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near to the kind of, it's, you know, I know it's not very loyal, but I moan constantly about the state of English craft shops, because apart from some really good independent ones, the kind of actual chain craft stores that we have are pretty bad. They're okay for very generic stuff, but they haven't got any kind of specialist knowledge around things like crochet and cross stitch. So basically they kind of, especially with cross stitch, I kind of find that they don't really have anything that's that amazing. It's kind of all a bit general, and the wool quality isn't, you know, anything special either. But I managed to find this wool, and actually it's come up. This is the kind of sort of ribbed bit at the back of the top and bottom of the cardigan. It's hard to, it's hard to show it very well. But it's come out really neat. It looks lovely with the glitter in it. So I'm actually really pleased with that. And it's got a slightly more delicate look to it to that other wool because it's less chunky, so I've been happy with that. Absolutely everything has cat hair in it, but never mind. I'm just going to shut the door 1 second. I'm just shutting the door because I'm home on my own at the moment, but I have that annoying thing when my boyfriend's due to come home, and I always tell him not to interrupt my video and start talking, but then he probably will if I leave the door open. So, and obviously it's that weird thing, which I'm sure Flosstubers get, where you're talking to yourself in your house, making your video, and that slight self-consciousness about anybody hearing you is a bit weird as well. Okay, other crochet things. This is just Natura cotton, and this is a washcloth thing that I've been making from a very simple magazine pattern I found. This is nothing special, that one. And then the other things I'm making are not for the charity event. These are just things that I'm doing. So this is some Aran wool, again from Hobbycraft. It's coming out quite browny. That's kind of a dark kind of honey orange, because it's a honeycomb blanket, and this was from Crochet Now magazine. So it's a very easy pattern that I feel like I've made a lot of progress with crochet actually. I feel like I'm not quite there with really complicated stuff, but I'm kind of understanding now what my mum was telling me about things being kind of an adaptation of each stitch is basically an adaptation of another one, so they're not that difficult to kind of get to know new ones. And then I've been so desperate to make one of these mermaid blankets that I've decided to make one for myself. So the wool that I've got, you need two wools. You need a kind of contrast wool, which is your kind of waistband on it, which is what I'm using at the moment. So this is, again, this is a very cheap kind of Hobbycraft. It's actually a really lovely lilac colour, but it's not really showing through. And it's, there we go, it's the waistband I'm making at the moment. It feels like it's never ending because it's got 177 rows to do, which is the consequence of making adult items rather than children's stuff. But it's, you know, it's a bit of a novelty to make something for adults, because I do tend to make quite a lot of baby things. And the other wool that I'll be using is this one here, which is King Cole Cherish Baby Double Knitting, and again it's kind of a mixture of blues, pinks, purples there, so quite gender neutral. Not that I believe in gendered clothing, but for anybody that does, it's gender neutral. And then finally the project that I'm working on is, oh sorry, I thought I had the picture out there. It's called a sunrise shawl, and I'm making this for my mum. Now, as you'll see, it's variegated, and I was having one of those days where you go into the shop and you just just want to make something. You could wait and buy the right wool online and everything else, but I just wanted to make something. I was quite impatient to come home and feel like I had something I could get started on. So the wool I've chosen, I don't really think is right for what the pattern is, to be honest, but I'm not getting too worked up about it. I'm just going to do it. I think the wool it uses is thinner and is more of a kind of summer shawl. I think that the weight of this will mean that it's a shawl for winter, but that doesn't matter because it will obviously be winter by the time I finish it. But it basically seems to be a triangle that kind of expands out. So this is how far I've got at the moment, and it's, you know, I haven't actually picked this up for a few weeks, but this is really coming together quite well. So I'm pretty pleased with this actually. So we'll see how that gets on. I'm hoping that can be a Christmas present for my mum, but we'll see. And I'll be a bit gutted if it doesn't fit or something, but I guess you won't know till you try. I'll just show you a few, and then I'm not going to show you individually, but just because who doesn't love Christmas? Look at this wool I found. If anybody has any ideas of what I can do with this, preferably not a scarf. I'd like to do something with this for Christmas. I don't think I'm quite at amigurumi toys phase yet, but if there's any piece of clothing or item that you think I could make with this which would look cool, let me know. So it's King Cole Glitz double knitting, and this is just a bag of donated kind of baby coloured wool that my grandma gave me for the project. So we'll see. What happens. So that is my crochet stuff that hopefully you oh, one more thing. I didn't make this myself, so I'm not going to lie. This is a lovely blanket that I got given, not got given, what am I talking about? I bought from a lovely lady who was at a fair that I was at last Sunday, and it was mostly a dog show, and we don't have a dog, and we're not particularly dog people, but it had kind of a few craft stalls and stuff, so I went along, and she sells them for £5 to raise money for a dog charity. So I thought it was lovely, and I thought actually I need something to sort of drape against the back of this. So I thought I'd buy that. So a couple of cool things that I did recently. So those of you that have watched some of my videos will know I'm Charles Dickens obsessed. You'll know that my mum made me a Charles Dickens cross stitch. I have recently been to the Charles Dickens Museum in London, and it's absolutely amazing. It might not be that interesting for somebody that isn't so amazed by Charles Dickens as me, but I got a collection of postcards. So some of them are sort of little snapshots of his stories. So I've got Christmas Carol there, David Copperfield, Oliver Twist. This really cool picture, which is a painting of him by his writing desk, which was available. All of the house was set up exactly. It was his house as a museum, and it was how it was set up while he was living there with the same furniture and everything. And this was somebody's impression. It's called Dickens' Dream by R.W. Buss, and it shows him seated in his study at Gad's Hill Place, surrounded by the many creatures of his imagination. So it's just showing Charles Dickens' imagination flowing at his writing desk. And just this is quite a classic picture of Dickens that you can find in a lot of places. So I'm going to be framing them and putting them up on the wall of my craft room. My craft room's kind of pretty much well, I don't know if they'll go in my craft room, because my craft room's my craft room, and the painting is kind of very lilac and very kind of sugary, pinky kind of look. So I'm not entirely sure yet what I'm going to do. I would like to display my Charles Dickens books and anything to do with him somewhere in my house, but actually I'm thinking maybe the study, so we'll see. I did want to, I've shouted out to them before, Denise and I believe her husband Ray, who own the Craft Arena in the Billericay, Barleylands Craft Village. I posted about them probably about a year ago when I went over there, and I had a lovely chat with them. I kind of went in, and I felt so bad because it was a day it was a day that I could only afford kind of a few things, and I just ended up buying a red thread from DMC that I kind of started getting carried away picking things out for a project, and I thought, actually I don't have the money for this, because it was the few days before payday, so I ended up just buying a red thread from them. But I had a lovely chat with Ray and Denise there, and you know, they were telling me about the workshops that they do. There's some really lovely things that they have in their shop. They're definitely one of the more, like, you know, if you're looking for a local craft shop in the Essex area that actually stocks a wide variety of decent cross stitch supplies and decent wool, you know, I would go to them. They're really good. You know, I was sort of quite surprised. You know, I often find it quite difficult to find cross stitch books. They had a really good selection there. If you're into your crochet, you'll find plenty of stuff there as well, and it's a really friendly atmosphere, and you know, I had a really good chat with them, and they actually recognised me from my YouTube channel, which was so surprising, because I always assume that nobody watches it, but they knew, I think from last time I've been, they'd seen my shout out on my YouTube video before. So if you're watching again, hello, and I will be back soon. So yeah, and they do a loyalty card as well, so yeah. So that was, just wanted to kind of let you know, I never, you know, a lot of people don't disclose where they live on Flosstube. Obviously I'm not telling you exactly where I live, but I do live in Essex, so it's, their kind of store isn't too far from me. So whip progress. So where have I got to? So I did, talking about losing my stitchy back a little bit, I did have a day, a stitch roulette day as I like to call it. Stitch roulette is kind of my ridiculous concept of, you know, I've got this weird thing about kind of if I keep choosing projects for myself, I'll always focus on the same ones, and as we know, sometimes when you pick up a project, it's actually a lot more enjoyable than you thought it would be, and you can kind of rule things out when you kind of get into a rut. So what I like to do is sometimes have big clumps of my whips and I number them, and I'll just find a random number generator online, and I will choose something based on that number. The number will dictate which one I worked on, and I had a stitch roulette day of an hour a day, an hour of each project, of 5 projects for a day. I think this was a couple of weekends ago, and actually it was quite good. I can see, you know, it kind of reminds me of people that do Stitch Mania. I can see the attraction to kind of actually getting on and getting through some stuff, and even an hour can make quite a difference. So it was really good. I managed about 4.5 hours. My last thing that I worked on, which I'm sure you'll realise what it is when I show you, I think I was distracted, and then I ended up doing something and didn't kind of get round to it. But that was really fun. The other thing I've been doing, which I did post about on Stitch Mania, very sad I know, is I've made my cross stitch spreadsheet for exactly the same reason. I'm going to show you a project in a little bit that I've picked Stitch Roulette style. So basically what I've started to do is chronicle all of the magazine projects that are on my wish list, numbered them obviously. I'm going to do the same for anything I've got on a wish list online, like on Etsy or so and so, and then just to make things a bit more exciting. I mean, there will be times when I just decide to work on a particular thing, but I've decided that next time I want a new project, I'm going to randomise it, stitch roulette, just get the one that it comes up with, you know, and just push myself out of my comfort zone, stop choosing the same, because obviously they're all things that I've chosen that are broadly within my taste, but my taste is quite eclectic. But sometimes I fall into ruts of choosing similar stuff. So I just, you know, for me, it's the random nature and not knowing what you're choosing things makes it fun. So I'll show you in a minute the pattern that came up through that. But let's go through the things that I have put some work into. And as I say, this will be really minimal because I haven't been doing a lot of stitching lately. So you might remember, I keep kind of flashing it on the camera and not actually really doing much with it, but this is a historical sampler company kit that I got in the sale for £9 at a craft show, and it's Good Friends Are Like Stars. You don't have to see them to know they're there, which is the same I really like, and I've got a couple of things in my house with this on. Despite the fact that I find historical sampler companies stuff really good to stitch when I'm actually doing it, because they're quite simple designs, I can sometimes find myself kind of not really choosing them. but I always enjoy them when I start them. So I have started on the A and the R of stars in red thread, and so that's nothing amazing, but it was really nice to work on an Ada project again actually. I've kind of come a little bit full circle on Ada. For a while I do prefer linen, I think, overall, because I don't like to see the holes as obviously when something's finished. Preferably, I would probably, something like this with kind of blank space, I'd probably prefer that it was on something like linen, because I can see the holes and that bothers me a bit. But in terms of full coverage pieces like Heaven and Earth, I'm actually questioning why I chose linen for my Heaven and Earth, which has kind of put me off picking it out for a while, because actually for something that's completely covered, it doesn't matter if it's Ada or not, and it just makes, you know, I don't have to waste time kind of counting squares and stuff. So it just kind of made me reflect that next time I do something that's full coverage, I think I'm going to go for Ada. And it's, you know, I've got a couple of kits, like my Father Christmas one, which I'll show you, which is Ada, which I just think it's so much easier. So yes. I should have said at the beginning, I'm sorry, I just have a complete state today. I just, on Sundays, which is a Monday, but it feels like a Sunday, I don't really make much effort. It's my one day where I don't put makeup on, I just don't do anything that I don't feel I have to do. So, but I didn't want to delay making this video just out of vanity, so I decided to do it even though I'm not looking my best. This one, you might remember, my mum got me this for Christmas, and it's called Four Seasons Village by Soda Stitch, and it was just when I'd kind of caught wind from Katie, who is, oh my god, that's really, really weird. I've completely forgotten her Flosstube name, even though it's something I watch like practically every day. Sorry, Katie. But Katie was the one who was, Stitch Mania Katie, was the one that kind of got me into Soda Stitch. Not that she would probably realise that, but she's got a few Soda Stitch patterns, and there's nothing that Soda Stitch do that I don't love, and I'd asked for a Soda Stitch pattern for Christmas, and my mum bought me this. The other thing I really like about them is just the fact that they make suggestions of other ways that you can do it, you know, singular patterns and cushions, and, you know, and I did toy with the idea of doing it kind of this way, but I'm actually doing the longer one. So I just believe I've just started this one here because it falls in the middle, and this is the one I didn't do. I did about half an hour on, so it's literally nothing, but there you go, that's what I've done. It's lovely linen, it's Cashel linen. I've kind of trained my mum that when she buys me anything cross stitch wise, Cashel linen is my kind of go-to that I like, so she tends to get me 28 count Cashel linen with anything that I do, which is really cool. I'm just going to be annoying and put this away as we go along, because I've just done cleaning, so I'm trying to keep things in a reasonable state. It does really fray this linen, and me being me, I'm very lazy and don't really bother doing a lot about that, but my mother-in-law a couple of times has sewn things kind of around the edges for me on the sewing machine, so I just don't have the patience to kind of do stitching all the way around the edge. I have used masking tape before, but it tends to come off and it tends to kind of rip even more of it off. So I've not found a kind of lazy solution that works for me with that yet. But my kind of reasoning, which is quite wasteful, is that you get so much excess fabric anyway that if you do lose some, it's unlikely that you'll lose so much that it will go down right down to the border pattern. But I shouldn't be like that really. The next one you might remember. Again, not done loads on it, but there's a little bit of progress since last time, is this lovely Leslie Tier Teddy Bears Picnic pattern, which was from Cross Stitch Gold magazine. And just to remind you, that's most of the picture of what it is. It's a lovely pattern. For some reason, I don't know if you ever find this, you know, it's probably the kind of opposite of what I'm saying about Historical Sampler Company. Sometimes I'll look at things and think, oh, they're so lovely, and then when I stitch them up, I'm not overly enthusiastic, and I think it's just a weird thing. But I find myself not wanting to pick this up, even though I absolutely love the finished picture. So I'm trying. This was a good example of something that, you know, it was a good job that I was on my Stitch Roulette day, because I wouldn't have picked this up for ages, and it would have just gone to the back of the pile. So that's how much I've done. I've done the brown there, and I finished off some of the dark pink since last time I showed that to you. And again, it's such a shame my webcam's rubbish, because actually it's quite a nice pink, this linen. You know, I got it from a kind of off scraps kind of pack in a craft show, but actually it's pretty good quality, and it's perfect for that kit. Now this one, you'll remember me showing you, it's an Emma Congdon strawberries and cream design that I've wanted to stitch for absolutely ages. There it is. That's most of the pattern. The ones on the side. I posted about this on Stitch Mania, because as you'll see, there are stains that do look like they're tea and coffee stains, and I promise you I'm not going mad. I don't tend to have tea anywhere near my stitching. I will have a cup of tea kind of on a table away and kind of go over and drink it, but I don't tend to kind of have it anywhere where it could drip on it, so I'm really surprised. I don't know how this happened, but now I'm a bit nervous, because I'm a bit annoyed, because this is a fabric that I wanted to use, and it's a kit that I've done a fair amount on it. So what I did is the border mostly, but because this is quite cheap fabric, I'm not sure it would survive being washed and not kind of dyeing everything else out, because it's not a new stain either, and I only discovered it when it was already on there. I don't know how best to do it. What I might do, because I don't actually wash my kits in the washing machine anyway, I tend to put them in a bowl of kind of lukewarm water with some fairy liquid for a few minutes. So it might be that if I just keep an eye on it, and just take it out at any hint that it's running, then I'll be okay. But I'm just a bit nervous about finishing it all off and finding that it's, you know, it's running because it's cheap fabric. But I guess we'll see. Again, another one that I've done an hour on, which won't look like much, but is the Lizzie Kate, a good marriage design, which was supposed to be for my friend, but God knows when this is going to be finished. And this is so stiff, this linen, I don't really like it. I did the forgive, so I've done that much, so it's getting there. And again, Lizzie Kate's another example of things that if I've left it for a while and I don't touch it, it kind of feeds itself into not, you know, I end up not picking it up, not really doing anything with it. Actually, I quite enjoy Lizzie Kate's when I do work on them. So it's a bit annoying how big the piece of fabric is, because I don't really get on with frames. So I tend to stitch in hand, but what I tend to do is I kind of roll it and I use like a bulldog clip to kind of clip it together. I've even used hair clips sometimes. Lovely design, gold collection. I really like this one. I really want to finish it when I can. It's called Santa's Nap, surrounded by puppies and kittens. It was if you remember, it was a gold collection kit that I hadn't ever seen in the shops before, and never seen it at craft shows before, but I came across it at a craft show. So, oh no, I didn't. Sorry, I saw it on Amazon. So it's really sort of nice to get one that's a bit different. Again, this is a really good example of, because it's a full coverage piece, being on Ada, it's perfect, and I'm actually thinking about working on this today. So what I've done, and this is one where I'm thinking, it wasn't Stitch Roulette actually that I did this on, I'm wondering whether I have shown you this, but the most recent thing I've done is had his glasses on. So I'm kind of looking forward to maybe doing a bit more on that. I'm actually going to keep that out today, because I think that's something that I might do a bit more work on. This was a Stitch Roulette one. Again, doesn't look like I've done very much. This was a magazine project that I'd kind of kitted up but hadn't started, and this is a Sugar and Spice gingerbread cottage by Gail Boosie, who I really love her designs. I just love the colours she uses, the animations. So this is the design. This is what it will look like. And it kind of says to me, you know, picture for a kitchen. And I've just done a window there, so that it never looks like an hour's work, does it? But I promise you it was. So one of the things to mention at this point is that you will hopefully remember that last year for my cousin, I did a Christmas village design for her from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, which took me absolutely ages. It took me about a year and a half or something to do it, but I gave it to her for Christmas, and it got me thinking that, again, this is probably ideas above my station for what's actually going to be achievable, but it did get me thinking that I would like, ideally, to be able to do that as a tradition, so each year give her something. But when we think that it's September, I don't know, but one of the things, the kits that I'm going to show you one of the whips that I'm going to show you that I chose through my Stitch Roulette spreadsheet is something that I think might stitch up quickly enough for me to get it done for her if I really focus on it in my holidays. So it's, you know, it would just be a nice tradition, I think, to, you know, give her something every year. But let's not make any promises. Okay, so then this one I'm really pleased with. It probably doesn't look like I've done loads, but I feel like what I really like about Emma Condon designs is it feels like it comes together really quickly. It just feels like you're kind of making progress. So even though the design is large, and I probably won't finish it in time for Christmas. It gives me hope anyway. So this is 'Tis the Season, We Wish You a Merry Christmas, Emma Condon design. This was from Cross Stitcher, November 2013. And lovely kind of pink, kind of vintage colours in that. Since last time, I've actually managed to get a lot done in the hour, and I think it's because it's lots of block stitching. So I was doing the pink outline of the M, but since I've seen you anyway, I've made quite a lot of progress, and I've done the whole of the Merry. So that's, you know, when I think that I did the whole, you know, all of that outlining in the pink in an hour, it just comes together really quickly. So I've got a bit of a problem at the moment with a lot of my whips have some kind of thread colours missing, and for a while I've kind of reasoned with myself I don't really want to kind of spend loads of money on threads when I'm not likely to get anything finished anytime soon. But there are a few things that it's a little bit annoying that I haven't got kind of the threads I need to kind of, and they're often threads that are quite a large part of the design. So in the spirit of not really having the money at all to spend on anything extra until Christmas, I don't know what I'm going to do. But if I know a long time ago, it might have been a couple of years ago when I first started doing Flosstube, someone mentioned to me a website in the UK that sells the MC for something like 39-40p a skein, and I was just amazed, considering Hobbycraft charged £1. I've seen that other places charge £1.50. So I need to kind of stock up on it really, but maybe be choosy with which ones I do that with. But because of the holidays we're going on, which is a first world problem, I realise, and then there'll be Christmas with a large family, then really any spare money I have is going to have to go on sensible stuff. So I don't know. That said, if I do another design, I was considering doing one of my Sue. I've got 3 Sue HIllis Christmas charts that I've got at Christmas fairs that I've shown you quite a few times. I've never really done anything with them, and I've had them for sort of a year or so now, and I thought it might be fun to put a bit of a vote out there as to which one's most popular, and maybe I'll kit up for this when I've got money, but let's not make any promises, but maybe. So I'll put this on Stitch Mania as well, because I think it would be fun to see which one's most popular. But let me know what you think in the comments. So there's Words of Wisdom from a Snowman, and I'll read that out to you. So it's okay to be a little bit bottom heavy, don't get too much sun, everyone knows carrots are good for you, be a jolly happy soul, it takes a few extra rolls to make a good midsection, it's fun to hang out in your front yard, remember we're all a bit flaky, white is always appropriate, accessorise, accessorise, accessorise. So that's Wise Words of a Snowman. Then we have Stitcher's Days of Christmas. So on the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 pairs of gingers, 11 golden needles, 10 cuts of linen, 9 bags of buttons, 8 silver thimbles, 7 fine new patterns, 6 chatelaines, 5 skeins of silk, 4 hours free to stitch, 3 stitching frames, 2 sewing birds, and a hat box full of overdyed threads. So that's another kind of long design, and that's by Sue HIllis. And I love all these ones. And then the final one is my favourite things. So these are a few of my favourite things, and this is I love the colours. Our Christmas tree is kind of pink. Not our actual tree, but our decorations we use are pink, so I thought that was quite nice. So if anybody has any opinions about what might be something good to stitch, let me know. What's your favourite? So is it Wise Words of a Snowman, 12 Days of Christmas, or my favourite things? Let me know what one you think I should stitch. Coming on then to this Christmas design. So the Christmas design that I had chosen out of my spreadsheet randomly came up, and it is called the Candy Gingerbread Train by Sue HIllis. I can never say her name properly, but I really love her stuff. And there you go. So as you can see, that is not, I think things always take longer than you think, but that is not out of the realms of possibility to have done by Christmas if I stick with it. So, and I quite like that there's some crossover, and that is a kind of gingerbread thing, so it kind of crosses over with last year's kit that I made her. So that's lovely, and I think I'm going to start that today. So just to show you, I know sometimes for some people it's a little bit boring to, you know, to see all the colour threads, but this one's got such lovely vibrant colours, which probably aren't going to come out on my laptop, but never mind. So I've got all of them. I managed to secure all of them actually. So I got these a few weeks ago, and I need to, yeah, and that was kind of my final purchase before I realised I was doomed to about 3 or 4 months of complete being a hermit and not spending any money. So, so there's white. There's 307, which is a really bright yellow. There's 445, which is like a kind of pastel baby yellow. There's 522, which is a strong purple colour. That's coming up much more blue. This is more of a reddy purple. The 553, very, very similar design, colour even. 321, the kind of I don't know if this is, let me have to check. Yeah, I don't actually need this. This is 321 that I bought from the Craft Village shop because I can never get 321, so I'll put that to the side. I've got a couple of those. 666, which is a red, but it's got a slight kind of neon quality to it. 956, which is like a very sugary pink. 957, which is like a pastel-y pink. 400, which is one of the browns for the gingerbread, and we've got 3776, which is a lighter brown for the gingerbread. Got 3753, which is a pale blue, which I think makes up the wording at the top of the design. 704, which is like a lime green. It's actually showing these quite true to their colours overall, which I'm quite surprised at. Got that 3081, which is like a kind of corally pink, and 702, which is kind of a grass green. So there we go. So this is a lovely, I need to find some, it's funny because it uses a kind of sky background for the design, which I'm using for the strawberries and cream one, so I'm not sure what I'm going to use, but I've obviously got some spare linen, so I just need to go in and look at what I've got available really. Okay, so that's it in terms of whips and stuff. I have some birthday craft tools. So it was my birthday on the 4th of July, and I thought I would show you some of the crafty stuff that I got. One of them you'll be excited about. One of the crafty things, some of the crafty things that I got. So I got Santa's Village from Soda 6, which I wanted for absolutely ages. Mine being selfish, but this is going to be mine. It's not going to be a present. That is going to be mine. But that will definitely be a Christmas 2018 finish. No chance of finishing that before Christmas. The piece of cashel linen that my mum got me with it. So it's 28 count cashel linen in dirty linen. This is huge, and that's because my mum said that's the only size they do, so I might actually have to cut this down a bit because it's going to be impossible to work with if it's too large. I might try and use my frame for it, but I just I don't get on well with friends, but if I can kind of cut it down to a reasonable size, then that should be fine. So I was really excited about that. My friend got me a contemporary embroidery cap. So I'd like to try embroidery, but I'm a bit scared. So she got me this as a kind of starter pack, which is so cool. So wish me luck, I'm going to be doing that. My cousin got me a DIY bracelet kit, which I'm going to start soon. And she got me, which I'm really excited about, a knitting loom, which I think helps to make kind of cylinder things, like kind of hats and pom-poms and stuff. So again, looking forward to that. My friend got me a lovely pack of crochet hooks, which are grey crochet hooks that come in this, which is good because I have crochet hooks, but because I'm doing a lot more now, I do need to be able to have spares as well. So it's kind of, I'm learning that one pack is not enough now, particularly because a lot of designs use all the same size. So it is going to be about an hour and a half, this video. I'm sorry if you're bored at this point. I won't know if you skip forward. So this was my present to myself. It's the Dorling Kindersley course in knitting, because it was only £3 in the sale. I've kind of shelved this for the moment. I want to learn knitting, but I have some other stuff that's more important in cross stitch and crochet at the moment. So I don't think that will be something I really pick up till next year, but it's there anyway. This I'm really excited about. One of my really good friends got me an Innocent Bones cross stitch kit, which I think it comes from Etsy, and it comes in a really cool cardboard box. And what it is it's like a kind of, I won't read out what this says. You'll just, oh no, am I going to be able to show you? This is going to be difficult. I can't show you this kit, so let's just say it's a rude saying, and it will be in a hoop. It came with a really cool needle with like a glittery bit of tape on. It came with a free gift of eye glitter as well. Some black thread, because it's in black. I'm probably going to switch it up and use a different colour, but I'll make use of this black somewhere else. This is Innocent Bones. Check them out. So it's innocentbones.com. And then you get some linen and you get some Ada. So I will probably do the linen, but we'll see. So that's a really cool, quick design, and I just really loved how it was packaged. Like, you get all these cool little bits and pieces, and it's really well presented. So I really like that, and that'll be a quick stitch, so I can kind of get that done. I've got this idea that I want to put stuff like that in the bathroom. So I once went to someone's house and they had kind of cross stitch pictures up on their wall, and I thought they were like really cutesy ones, but they were all really rude, and I'd like to do that in my bathroom. So that's what I'm doing. So that's cool. So last thing I have to tell you, I think, which is probably going to take a bit of time finally, so is my mum has got me some really cool old kind of cross stitch magazines that are back from the 90s, which is quite hilarious actually, some of the stuff. And she's found them in charity shops, and now, like, my stepdad's been kind of finding them as well. So I've got a few. Some of them I'm not going to flick through because I'm a bit obsessive about these things, and I don't like to see the content before I've actually had a chance to look through myself. But I'll show you the kits that I like from the ones that I have had a look at. So it's quite funny. One of the things me and my mum was saying is that the Pen Pals page, they're kind of, printing every single detail about somebody in a way that I don't think they would do now, especially children, kind of young children's details being put in the magazine. And it is quite funny, and I guess this is probably a reflection of the software that people used to have, but the charts are largely quite blocky, just the stuff that is just, I really don't like, really blocky. It's obviously, it's evolved, and I think cross stitch is a lot more sophisticated than it probably was back then, even in the 90s. But it makes me laugh because this is around the era that I would have been quite young, and this would have been when I would first start cross stitching, and I would have got my cross stitch patterns and things from my grandma, but I thought I'll show you some of the stuff I've got. This is Quick and Easy Cross Stitch from August 1998, and look, you can stitch this lining. I haven't finished flicking through this. If I show you the things that I picked out, this is blocky, but I think it works. This is a Joe Verso design, which there was something about that I really liked. But I thought, yeah, actually I'm not going to make fun of that one. I also quite liked her. She had a Juicy Fruits coasters, and which I thought were actually quite cool. So there's a few things that I actually think, no, they work fine. There's Cross Stitch Collection, which is one of my favourite magazines anyway, which I don't tend to find as much of these. I have to kind of scout for these a little bit more in the shop. But just to show you, this is Cross Stitch Collection, and this is April 1998. And actually, these are quite nice kind of designs, really. So we've got those designs on the front. And there's only, actually, do you know what? There wasn't really anything I particularly liked in this one, but it was still good to flick through. So Cross Stitch Collection. I'm going to just pause the video here and then record another video. 1 second, thank you. Hello, hi, I'm hoping this will be the second half of my video and that I can squeeze it all together in one project, so hopefully there's no weird kind of editing issues. So just to continue with the magazines, this is Cross Stitch December 1997. I think you'll see what I mean here about blocky designs. But it's still quite cool. There's actually quite a lot that I like from here. So there's Christmas cards, which all of these I thought were lovely actually. Really lovely Christmas cards, but I thought actually that's the kind of thing that we could do for the charity night. Let me have a look. Some of these books that I found in there that I want to advise. They're not all. Okay, these are quite sweet. These are just decorative. These are some kind of Christmas decorations. I like stuff like that. I'm not too picky about that being blocky because I think they're small designs. So, look. These were really lovely Christmas angels, and actually Katie, I thought you might like these. These seem like this style, Christmas angels. Yeah, that's it. That one's that. I've got Cross Stitch Collection. This is October, November 1994. Okay, so first, again, some of these are books that I've highlighted. Oh, so this is I'm not religious, but I did like this. This is Gloria in Excelsis Deo, which is a Latin biblical design. Nice. Oh, that was it actually. That was all. Everything else was books and stuff. So that one wasn't. But it's still interesting looking through them, I think. This was Prima Cross Stitch, which is spring 1999. So Prima is a women's magazine in the UK that still runs, but as far as I know, they don't do dedicated cross stitch stuff anymore. I think there are a few women's magazines here that used to be quite crafty, that have kind of now gone a bit more generic women's magazine. But at the time, this looks like they kind of did supplements of particular things. So let's have a look through. Oh, these were nice. So these were little boys' kind of rockets and space designs and stuff there. A lot of the designers I don't recognise as well, so I think these are designers that have kind of come and gone a little bit. This was nice. This was a star design. That was really weird though, because they actually tell you that you have to go and kind of almost chart it yourself, like kind of trace it and then kind of create the kind of chart yourself for that one. So I think not really. So there's a few strange things in here which makes me think maybe they're not maybe it kind of reflects that they're not kind of a cross-stitch magazine, because I just couldn't help thinking, well, why wouldn't you just provide the chart with all the stars on rather than one star and kind of people having to mess about for themselves, but never mind. This was really nice. This was olive trees cushions, which I think are really nice. They're not my usual style, but I just thought they were really different, so I thought they would be nice. They'd probably be something I'd make for somebody else. Yeah, and that's that one. And then I have some other ones that I haven't kind of started looking at yet. So I've got Quick and Easy Cross Stitch, April 98. I've got a Quick and Easy Cross Stitch, June 99. I've got the World of Cross Stitching, issue 200, which isn't very old. These aren't old. These are just back issues that, you know, are really quite recent. So this isn't old, but these are just a couple my mum managed to pick up for me. So they're not on the kind of vintage bit. And the World of Cross Stitching, issue 241. Which is good. And then I've got a couple of, this will show you how far behind. So I worked out the other day when I was doing my spreadsheet that I am actually about a year behind Cross Stitch Crazy at the moment, which is unbelievable. Sometimes I'm a bit sporadic, so I was trying to read things in the right order, and then I thought actually I'll just pick up things in my random pile of magazines. It doesn't matter too much to me. And I will, you know, just read them as and when I get the chance to. So I've caught up a little bit on Cross Stitch Gold, but Cross Stitch Crazy, because it's got more stuff to actually read in it. Cross Stitch Gold tends to be kind of a few patterns as such. There's just a bit more to catch up on. So I'm getting there, but it's just, I tend to take a couple of magazines in my handbag to work, but my problem is I also download programs to watch, so I kind of always have too much choice. But here's one. So Cross Stitch Gold doesn't really say a month, so I'm not sure how recent this is, but this would have been within the last year. Cross Stitch Gold issue 138, and these are the ones I've chosen. Okay, so this is lovely. This is another lovely tier 1, and this is a cat cushion. I thought it was really nice. That will be going on the spreadsheet. This is Basket of Strawberries by Duran Jones. And these are not normally my usual style, but I thought these were really nice. These are Fiona Baker's sort of city cards, which I thought were quite cool. I've got a few friends that have done quite a lot of travelling, so I've got people in mind that might like them. And then, since I last saw you, the last thing I have got, because I tried to keep up with these, is Ultimate Cross Stitch Gardens. And I think that I saw a pre-order advert in here for Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas, which is coming, apparently available from September. So I'm going to try and put my pre-order in very soon. And actually, I didn't expect to like as many as I did in here. So I'll take you through the things that I like. So this is by Susan Bates, who I love. I've always loved her stuff. Susan Bates, and this is called Country Garden. This is again by Susan Bates, and it's called Nature's Harvest. This is by Carol Thornton, and I really like her stuff because she's a watercolour artist, and what she does is she uses, what I quite like about her style, which you'll know if you've seen any of them in other magazines, is that she uses slightly abstract colours for what the design is, so it's just always something a bit different. I can see that she would probably be a designer that some people wouldn't be that keen on, but I really like it. This is The Mill House by Carol Thornton. This is Wisteria Window by Carol Thornton, which can be adapted to a smaller design as a card as well, so you can take a kind of snippet out of the design version. Okay, this is Treasure Trove by Joanne Jones. These are lovely. These are by Susan Bates. These are quite blocky, but I just really like the colour palette that she's used. And these are called Home Comforts cards, and they're greetings cards, all with a kind of red sort of effect on them. Stitch and Sew, so these are by Joan Elliott, and what I liked about these is these are so different to the normal stuff that she does. I was actually quite surprised that she was the designer. So these are cool kind of, I guess they could be seed packets or they could be cards. I prefer the vegetable ones to the flower ones, but I might do the whole series anyway. Fragrant Herbs by Leslie Tier. So this is kind of a, I guess, like a kind of hanging that you can use for your gardening tools. It won't be for me, but I'm sure somebody might. My mother-in-law does quite a lot of gardening, so. This by Susan Bates, and these are kind of a trio of kind of seed packet designs. Seasonal Cuties by Rona Norrie. This isn't really my usual style, but I thought that was quite sweet. These are 4 seasons with a cat and a dog. Some, oh yeah. And then finally, this is a collection of kind of cards and butterfly designs by Amanda Gregory. Nice as well. So that's Cross Stitch Gardens. Let me just flick through because I think there's an advert in here for when you can pre-order your Cross Stitch Christmas. Yeah, just flick through it there. Oh, I've just seen it. So I can show you, give you the right information. There we go. So Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas. Pre-order your copy now. And I think that it doesn't say a date on here. Oh, here we go. Your copy will be dispatched on the 14th of September. So if you're somebody that likes to get these hot off the press, if you put your pre-order in now, it says you go to buysubscriptions.com and then you put /ULTXMAS17 and you quote that code as well, you'll be able to get your pre-ordered copy. Okay, so that's everything from me for today. I think I'll leave it there because we're getting to the kind of hour and a quarter mark. But once again, really sorry for the delay with my last video. I hope I've kind of made up for it with the amount of content in this video. As usual, really appreciate your comments, your subscriptions. Do let me know what you think about the Sue HIllis designs and what you think I should go for next. But until then, I'll be catching up with everybody else's Flosstube. So I hope you all have a good, probably a couple of months till I see you next time. We'll be nearer to Christmas probably by the time I see you next. It's probably going to be a while till my next video because of all of the stuff that's going on between now and November. But I will try obviously to get a video up as soon as I can. So see you soon. Thank you. Bye.